And here we go again, Proverbs. I know that I talk fast and that I'm kind of whipping through things in Proverbs, but I've mentioned this before in another video. I'm going to come back later and go through and find and kind of sort it out for you later as far as like which verses relate to what, because it's all great wisdom. But it's all mixed in there together. It's really hard to decipher this 2 lines at a time when there's 20 or 30 lines within a chapter. So I'm going through and letting you know kind of what's going on and like what he's focusing on throughout the chapters and where the shifts are in the chapters, from where he's focusing more on King Solomon is focusing more on worldly things rather than more God-centered things, and kind of telling you the struggles that he went through so that you can connect with him personally, and maybe that'll help you with your own life and help you to find what it is you're looking for in there, and not feel like it's so monotonous. Part of learning about the Bible isn't just reading the words of the Bible. It's looking at the history and the people who wrote it and trying to understand them and what they may have intended or what they may have been going through at the time, because it gives more definition to the words that they've put on the page. I mean, these are God's words that have come through them, but there's also, we know that for ourselves, like me today, I do make these videos mostly all in one day because it's just easier for me. My schedule's very busy. I watch my grandson. My daughter got a full-time job. And then I have a son who lives 2.5 hours north of me. And then I go visit every once in a while, and another daughter that lives an hour north of me. I have another one in Colorado. Hi, Gianna. But, yeah, I only get to fly out and see her every once in a while. But I have this super busy schedule. So I record these, mostly in one day. I change clothes, yes, so you don't have to look at the same thing all the time. But, like right now, I've got a cold. I'm coming down with the cold that I caught from my son and his family that's 2.5 hours north. So I'm struggling a little bit with my focus. And so, there's a lot of things in this world that affect how we're doing things and what comes out of us. I sit and study these things. I've had this stuff prepared. I've read through my notes, but still, when I sit down to talk to you, I'm pretty much kind of winging it. I have my information, but all the things that have happened to me through the day, like I already recorded one video and accidentally deleted it. So all those frustrations and all of the busy schedule and the cold and all those things that run around us during the day are still going to affect us. So understanding what someone is going through when they're writing these things for God helps you to understand where they were at. It connects you more with that person, and that is important when you're reading these things. It has a lot to do with how you translate it into your own life and how it connects to your own life. That's why they call it the Living Bible, because it's constantly moving, and even though it was written a long time ago, it's still adapting. The world has not necessarily changed. People haven't changed. We have more things around us. It's more hectic, I would say, but people are not different. We still struggle with the same things. We still struggle through the same emotions. Emotions haven't changed. So that's why it's important. So Proverbs, this monotonous thing that I keep chatting about, I love Proverbs. I really do. It's just difficult to explain to people. So I'm trying to use these videos to teach you about the background so that you can understand when you step into it that there's a wave here where King Solomon goes from writing about stuff in life or things that he may be gaining from watching people or things like that. And then it'll shift and he'll be more God-centered. But everything that he has written in his wisdom in these books or in these chapters, is Christian oriented. So, I mean, they're all good things to know. He's trying to teach you to go down a good path and not a bad path. And I feel like I'm repeating myself. But today we're going through, last week we went through, 16 through 18. And this week we're actually going through 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. So there's a lot of them. And the reason that I did that is because he spends a lot of time just making comparisons about what's going on around him or about what he sees. Like one person, one thing that he wrote here is, the purpose in a man's heart is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. He's trying to give you some guidance to help you dig deeper into yourselves and deeper into people around you. We spend our time skimming over everything, kind of like I'm doing with Proverbs right now. But we have a lot of time. We have a hard time digging deeper or allowing anything to go deeper. And I've noticed too in people that a lot of times those who have wisdom, they don't want to impart it because that wisdom makes them feel special in a way. It's just like having an idea or an invention that you keep to yourself until you can actually make it happen because you don't want anyone to steal it from you. Wisdom should not be like that. Knowledge should not be like that. If you have it, share it. That's kind of the point of life. If we're just keeping to ourselves and not opening up or digging deeper, like King Solomon is trying to teach us in these chapters, then we're not necessarily getting anywhere. We're not necessarily living. We're learning. We may be growing in ourselves, but we're not growing beyond ourselves. Our roots are not digging deeper. Our branches are not reaching farther. And we cannot bear more fruit. We need to be sharing. We need to be imparting wisdom. We need to be opening up and helping others to draw it out of themselves by reflecting that in. And that's kind of what he's talking about there, is that, this man will be able to draw it out. We need to be able to pull that out of ourselves so that as we do that, it actually encourages other people to pull it out of themselves. Believe it or not, people like to talk. You might find introverts that seem to not like to be around people, or they seem a little bit shyer, but being able to get them to open up, you'll realize that they actually like to talk. I'm actually an introvert. I like to stay to myself. I prefer to, my relax time isn't around a bunch of people. It's by myself. So that's what makes me peaceful. But here I am. I'm making videos. I'm talking to people. I'm opening it up, and I'm getting wordy online. I'm talking a million miles an hour and putting myself out there because people like to talk. They really do. So that is what I pray for you this week, that these chapters, and again, that's 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. I do have notes. In Jesus' name, I pray that your wisdom is pulled out of you and that you learn to dig deeper into these words and find more meaning within them and learn how they connect to your life, and that to live. In Jesus' name, I pray that you live this week and that you step out and you start to understand what it means to reach your branches farther and to bear more fruit. In Jesus' name, I pray that for you this week. And I believe we're almost done with Proverbs. So I will only see you a couple more times with Proverbs. And as always, I want you to believe and make it so.